Most managers were set up to fail before they ever had their first meeting. Now, I'm going to read through some stuff here I thought was pretty interesting that I found when I was doing a little bit of research. Companies systematically promote their best individual contributors into management, even though those skills don't transfer. NBER research found companies would get better, this is funny, would get better results choosing managers randomly than selecting the people who most actively pursue the management roles. Gartner confirmed 60 to 70% of first-line managers are promoted from within their existing team, meaning they're managing people who were their peers yesterday. CMI found 82% of managers enter the role without any formal training. The Center for Creative Leadership puts that number at 60%. In the US Gallup's 2025 report, they found only 44% of managers worldwide have received any management training at all. So this is kind of the premise of this video about how managers are promoted from being an individual contributor, but that's not the same skill set that people need to be effective managers. So the system essentially is built in a way that almost promotes failure. It's a system that's focusing on the wrong trait. So the traits and skills that an individual contributor used to become highly effective and rated highly by their manager are not the same skills and traits that will make them a highly effective manager. And that's part of the problem. I still think that's funny that, quote, NBER found that companies would do better choosing managers randomly than selecting the ones, even the ones that wanted to be a manager, that might have the passion for it. There's still a skill set missing. And it doesn't mean that they can't obtain it and be trained and coached into it. But it means that the random roll of the dice is essentially better than deliberately planning it out. Another point from the article talks about that most of the first line or first time managers inherited their team. So a lot of times their team consists of people that were their peers. And that's what the stats show. 60 to 70% are managing people who were their peers yesterday. Again, in this case, it's not a skills problem. This one is a relationship problem. You went from being one of us to now one of them or my boss, essentially overnight. And there's no roadmap for that. And based on the statistics, very few companies actually support these new managers in that environment. A lot of people have gone through this. This is the crazy part, is there's a lot of people that go through this and are sitting in those roles. They weren't given the skills or the tools to be able to cope and to be able to be effective in those areas. The other stat the CMI puts it at 82% as far as training goes. CCL at 60% in the US. Gallup 2026, only 44% of managers worldwide have received any management training at all. Any. So you have someone promoted. They were promoted for the wrong skills. It's not saying they were a bad employee. They were likely a highly effective employee. And now they're also now managing people who used to be peers with them. And there was no instruction manual. Based on the statistics here, that's the starting condition for many managers. And it's not your problem. It's a system problem. I can recall a story, or I can recall an example. There was a person that was a highly technical individual contributor. They were promoted into a manager position, frontline manager. So they were expected to manage at a minimum 2 people, maybe 3 or 4. So less than a handful. And I know some managers out there get promoted into a position that they might have even more than that, more than that 2 to 4 or a handful or so, which is kind of the sweet spot and the ideal spot for maintaining good communication and control on the team. And they got promoted into the position, and it was evident pretty quickly to myself and other more senior leaders that this person wasn't cutting it, and likely wasn't going to cut it going forward unless there was some kind of intervention, coaching, mentoring, training. So, long story short, after a period of about, it was 6 to 10 months of working with this individual, it wasn't just me, it was myself and a few other middle managers that were working with him. And we coached him. We had check-in points daily. Anytime he ran into an issue, it wasn't paperwork or anything punitive. It was a learning moment, a training moment, coaching moment. So that way he could start to get the repetition down of, okay, I've run into this problem. This is how it's been coached or shown to me before. I should execute. And for whatever reason, this person couldn't grasp it. And we got to that 6 to 10 month point, closer to the 10-month point, and realized that maybe they just weren't cut out for it. So that person was let go, and unfortunate end, but that's, that can be one of the end results. One of the morals of the story is that, looking back, he never really decided to become a manager. He accepted the promotion, but those are two different things, right? The title changed, the job changed, but he never made that internal shift. And that's part of what is on the new manager side of it, is there's that self-reflection and internal shift. The question I would want you to sit with as a new manager is, did you choose this? Is it something you wanted? Or did you accept it? Because if you just accepted it, you're already on that same path. You accepted the promotion, but you need to choose this. It needs to be deliberate. It needs to be something that you're actively pursuing, and that is something that interests you and something that you want to get better at, just like anything else in life. Did you choose this, or did you accept it? If you're being honest and the answer is you accepted it, that's okay. Most people do. But the managers who figure this out are the ones at some point, they make the decision after the fact. So they wake up and choose the job. That's where it starts. But choosing the job is just the beginning. Because most of you were never actually trained how to do it.